There is one simple technique that I teach. It's a simple technique, but I consider it revolutionary. Something that can have a big impact. The simple technique is that you can take a pause in the middle of a sentence. Let me explain. Essentially, when people read sentences, they take a pause only at the end of a sentence. So they read the entire sentence and then think, okay, what the sentence has said. Now, my technique is very simple, that you can choose to take a pause even in the middle of a sentence. Okay, so you have not read the entire sentence, you can still take a pause and understand it and then read the remaining part of the sentence. It may look like a very simple thing that, I can take a pause anywhere I want, but I believe this is a very, very significant thing. And I have seen that it has made a lot of impact to a lot of people. Let me explain its impact using an analogy. Let's say both of us have a skill level that we can lift 50 kgs at a time. Okay, you can also lift 50 kgs, I can also lift 50 kgs at a time. So if somebody gives us a task that, okay, you have to take this weight from place A to place B, and let's say the weight is 30 kgs. So we both can do it easily because our skill level is 50 kgs, so 30 kgs is within our skill. So we can take it from point A to point B. Somebody gives us 40 kgs, again we can do it. Somebody gives us 50 kgs, again we can do it easily, no problem. Now let's say somebody gives us 70 kgs. Now our skill level is that we can lift 50 kgs at a time, but the weight is 70 kgs and we are supposed to take it from point A to point B. Now what you do is, you try to pick it, you're not able to pick it because your skill is 50 kgs. So you keep trying, but you're not able to do it. But I know a secret. The secret is that I can divide the weight into two parts, make it 35-35, and then I take one part from point A to point B, come back to point A, pick another part, take that to point B, I'm done. Simple. So I'm able to complete the task, but you're not able to complete the task. The difference lies not in terms of our skills. The difference lies in terms of our process. That I had a process in which I could break down a task into two smaller parts and do those tasks one at a time. But you didn't have that process. Your process was, I'll do it at once. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Right? So till the time you keep coming across tasks which are within your range. So which are manageable given your skills of 30 kgs, 40 kgs, 50 kgs, you are able to do them pretty well. You rather perform as well as I perform. But when you are given a task which is 70 kgs, 80 kgs, which is beyond your skill level, then you are helpless. That is the difference this process can make. Okay, and I'll put a link to another video in which I explain this process. But essentially, it's a big thing that you can take a pause in the middle of a sentence, and then that will allow you to understand even very complex sentences. Right now, you can understand sentences only till a certain complexity level, which is within your skill level. But once you start taking pauses even while you're reading a sentence, then suddenly you'll have the ability to process, understand very complex sentences also. And this same mentality, this same process also applies when you're trying to read a passage. A lot of people, what they do is, when they're reading a passage, they take a pause only at the end of a paragraph. Okay, so they read the entire paragraph, then they take a pause to understand, okay, what has happened, what are the connections, what is the author overall trying to say. Now, that's going to work as long as the passage is not very complex for you. If the passage is complex for you, and I'm saying complex for you, I'm not saying complex in general. What is complex for you could be easy for somebody else, and what is easy for somebody else could be complex for you, right? Or it could be vice versa. Something could be easy for you, complex for somebody else. The point is, what is complex for you? If you are taking a pause only after reading 5 sentences or 4 sentences, basically at the end of a paragraph, then you are feeding your mind with a lot more data than it can handle. It's not very comfortable with that context. It's complex. The language could be complex. The context could be familiar. The words could be unfamiliar. Right? Could be so many things. The point is, the passage is complex for you, but you are taking a pause only after reading 4 or 5 sentences. So essentially you're giving your mind a lot of data to process at one time. As a result, it may not be able to do a sensible job. It may end up creating a story which is not really the actual story. Okay, or it may completely give up. So the same insight that I shared with respect to reading sentences also applies to reading passages, reading paragraphs, that you can choose to take a pause at the end of every sentence. So every sentence you can take a pause and connect it back. So right now you are connecting the sentences only after reading 5 sentences in one go. I'm saying that you can connect sentences after every sentence. So at any given time you're trying to make a connection of only this sentence with the previous sentences. So you're not trying to make connections across 4 or 5 sentences in one go. So suddenly the problem becomes much more manageable. So even if the complexity is high, you can manage it. So what we are working on by doing this is not really on your skills. We are working on the process. Okay, so right now you may be succeeding not because of your process, but despite your process. I believe that if you follow the process that I just shared, which I'm calling revolutionary, then you will succeed because of your process. Essentially, your process will aid your success, not go against your success. That's all I had to share.